Hello, world. I'm Jack, and welcome to English Speaking Studio.
I'm Lucy. So what are you waiting for? Let's dive in and make learning English an unforgettable journey.
So we're diving deep today into relationships and heartbreak.
Right.
It's something that almost everyone goes through at some point.
Right.
And it can be like one of the most painful experiences, right?
Absolutely. It really can.
But even knowing that, we keep putting ourselves out there.
Yeah.
We keep searching for love even after having our hearts broken. Why is that?
Well, it's interesting because it's not just, some abstract emotional thing.
Right.
There's a real biological component to it.
Oh, interesting.
When we fall in love, our brains are basically flooded with all these, feel-good chemicals like dopamine.
Dopamine, yeah.
It's the same chemical that's involved in addictive behaviors.
Oh, wow. So it's literally addictive to be in love.
Well, in a way, yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, so we have this chemical cocktail going on, making us feel amazing.
Uh-huh.
But then heartbreak comes along and throws a wrench in the works.
Yes.
So what happens to our brains when that connection's broken?
It's almost like going through a sudden withdrawal from, a powerful drug.
Oh, wow.
The levels of dopamine and oxytocin, they plummet, and our brains just kind of desperately try to fill that void.
I see.
And it can manifest in physical symptoms too, not just, emotional ones.
Oh, okay. So I know people talk about it feeling like a physical blow.
Right.
Are you saying there are actual measurable physical effects?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about metaphors here.
Well,
Take, for instance, broken heart syndrome. It's an actual medical condition where the stress of heartbreak can actually mimic a heart attack.
oh my God.
You get, chest pain, shortness of breath.
Wow, that's really unsettling, but also kind of validating in a way. It
Mhm.
shows how profound an impact it can have on us.
Exactly. It affects us on every level.
So the physical effects are alarming,
Right.
but the emotional turmoil can be even more intense.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just sadness,
Uh-huh.
it's a whole journey through so many different emotions.
Exactly. You might be familiar with, the 5 stages of grief.
Oh, yeah.
Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance.
Yeah, I've heard about those before. But honestly, they always seemed a bit too, neat and tidy to actually reflect, the messiness of heartbreak.
You're absolutely right. It's rarely that linear.
Okay.
Healing from heartbreak isn't like climbing a ladder.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like navigating a maze, with twists and turns and unexpected dead ends.
Oh, I like that analogy.
You might feel angry one day, and then the next you're trying to bargain, hoping you can change the past.
Yeah.
And that's completely normal.
So, there's no set timetable. It's
Yeah.
about just allowing yourself to feel those waves of emotion
Exactly.
and not judging yourself for them.
Exactly. Be kind to yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a process.
So even though it's incredibly painful, I've always kind of thought of heartbreak as a catalyst for growth, too.
Hmm.
What do you think?
I completely agree. It might seem counterintuitive, but heartbreak often, kind of, forces us to confront ourselves in ways that we might otherwise avoid.
Yeah.
We have to reevaluate our beliefs, our values, what we want.
Okay.
It could be like an unexpected opportunity for some deep self-discovery.
I like that. An unexpected opportunity. So what does that self-discovery actually look like?
Right.
What are some specific things that we might learn from going through heartbreak?
Well, for one, it can really shine a light on our boundaries, or maybe the lack of them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the relationship ended because, some boundaries were crossed. Either by you or by your partner.
Yeah.
And it can be a painful but really essential wake-up call.
Mm-hmm.
And it prompts you to kind of examine what you will and won't tolerate in future relationships.
Yeah, for sure. So it's about recognizing those red flags that maybe you overlooked before.
Exactly.
And being more assertive about, protecting your emotional well-being.
Precisely. And maybe even more importantly, heartbreak can teach us a lot about resilience.
Oh, interesting.
Think about it. You've gone through something incredibly difficult.
Right.
And you're still here. You've weathered that storm.
Yeah.
And that experience, as hard as it was, has made you stronger.
Right.
You might even surprise yourself with
Yeah.
how much you can actually endure.
That's true. It often reveals a kind of hidden strength that we didn't even know we had.
Yeah.
So how does that resilience then translate to future relationships? Does it help us navigate love more effectively?
Well, it can definitely change your perspective. It's kind of like you've been through the fire and you come out with a much deeper understanding of what actually matters.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So you're less likely to like settle for superficial connections or ignore those red flags.
So it's almost like a refining process,
Yeah.
It burns away those illusions,
Mhm.
and you're left with this, like, clearer vision of what you really want.
Exactly. And that clarity, that sense of knowing yourself better, that can really help you attract a love that's more like in tune with who you are.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so we're starting to see those silver linings,
Yeah.
those, like, unexpected gifts
Yeah.
that can come from heartbreak.
Exactly.
But what about, like, the practical side of moving on?
Yeah.
How do you actually navigate, like, day-to-day life when it feels like everything reminds you of that person?
It's important to remember that healing is a process.
Oh.
It's not like you just wake up one day and you're totally over it,
Right.
It's not about forgetting the past. It's about figuring out how to, like, integrate it into your present in a healthy way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've heard people say time heals all wounds.
Yeah.
But that always felt a little too passive to me. Like, is there anything you can actively do to help yourself heal?
Oh, absolutely. There are a lot of things.
Okay.
I think one of the most important is to just, like, be kind to yourself. You've been through something really tough.
Right.
And you deserve kindness, not self-criticism.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So don't beat yourself up for feeling sad or angry or lost.
Mm.
Those are all completely normal reactions.
So it's about acknowledging those feelings
Mm-hmm.
and not trying to, like, suppress them or judge yourself for having them.
Exactly.
But what about when those emotions just feel, like, overwhelming?
Yeah.
Are there any, like, practices that can help you deal with that?
There are a ton of tools out there.
Okay.
And it's really about finding what works for you.
Okay.
Some people find it helpful to journal, just like get all their thoughts and feelings out on paper.
Right.
Others connect with nature, find some peace in being outside.
Yeah.
And for some people, talk to a therapist can be really helpful. It gives them a safe space to, process everything.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's about finding what works for you.
I know some people also find talking to friends helpful, but I always kind of struggled with that. Like, I don't want to burden them.
I get that, but honestly, your true friends, they want to be there for you.
Okay.
And sometimes just sharing what you're going through can actually make your connection stronger.
Okay.
And, maybe your friend has been through something similar and can offer some advice.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's easy to isolate yourself when you're hurting,
Right?
but reaching out can really help.
Yeah, for sure.
It reminds you that you're not alone.
Oh, okay. So what about the urge to, like, jump into a new relationship right away
Yeah.
to kind of, like, numb the pain?
I see what you mean.
Is that ever a good idea?
While it might be tempting, rebound relationships are often a way to avoid dealing with those, like, unresolved emotions from the previous relationship.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So it's like using a Band-Aid
Yeah.
instead of actually letting the wound heal.
Exactly. It's important to give yourself the time and space to process what happened
Okay.
before you, open yourself up to someone new. Otherwise, you might just end up repeating the same patterns.
Right. Yeah. And potentially hurting yourself or someone else even more.
Exactly.
It's like that saying, you can't heal in the same environment that made you sick.
Right.
Sometimes you need to, like, step away from the familiar, from those patterns.
Yeah.
To really create space for something new and healthier.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
It really highlights how important it is to take that time for yourself.
Okay, so we've talked about how healing takes time and self-compassion
Right.
and a willingness to actually face those emotions.
Yeah.
But what about when it feels like you're stuck?
Yeah.
Like you're just going in circles, replaying the same painful memories.
I know exactly what you mean. And those moments are really common.
Okay.
And they can be so frustrating.
Yeah.
But remember that healing isn't always linear.
Okay.
There will be ups and downs,
Okay.
moments where you feel like you're making progress, and then moments where you feel like you're back to square one.
Yeah.
It's like navigating a choppy sea.
Yeah.
There will be moments of calm, but you're also going to hit some rough patches.
So how do you, like, keep your head above water during those times?
Yeah.
What can you do when it feels like you're, drowning in sadness?
One thing that can be really helpful is to focus on those little victories,
Okay.
those tiny steps forward that might seem small but are actually huge.
Yeah.
Maybe you had a day where you smiled more than you cried, or you were able to do something you used to enjoy.
Right.
Celebrate those moments, no matter how small they seem.
It's like those little wins are proof that you're healing, even if it's slowly.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like those little sparks of light
Mm.
reminding you that the sun will come out again
I
eventually.
love that. Love it.
And as you start to like collect those small victories,
Hmm.
you might notice that your perspective starts to shift.
Right.
What once felt like this huge loss
Yeah.
might start to feel like an opportunity.
An opportunity.
Yeah, like an opportunity for something.
Okay, I like that. What kind of opportunity?
What kind of opportunities might come from heartbreak?
Well, I think for one, heartbreak can really open your heart up
Mm-hmm.
in a way that allows for like even deeper love and connection.
Okay.
You know, it can strip away those superficial layers and reveal a more authentic, more resilient.
So it's not just about finding someone new.
Right.
It's about becoming someone new.
Exactly.
Someone who's like more in line with their true self.
Yeah. And that's a really powerful foundation for building a future filled with love and happiness.
Okay, so we've talked about the emotional roller coaster of heartbreak
Uh-huh.
and the importance of self-compassion
Yeah.
and the potential for transformation.
Right.
But from your perspective, like what's the most important thing for healing and moving on?
For me, it all comes down to acceptance.
Okay.
Acceptance of what happened,
Mm-hmm.
acceptance of your feelings,
Yeah.
and acceptance of the fact that healing takes time.
Okay.
It's not about like condoning what hurt you or pretending it didn't matter.
Yeah. Right.
It's about making peace with the past so you can create a brighter future.
So acceptance isn't about forgetting or minimizing the pain.
Right.
It's about acknowledging it, honoring it,
Exactly.
and letting it become part of your story without defining you.
I love that it's like weaving it into the tapestry of your life.
Yeah.
You know, recognizing that even the darkest threads can contribute to the overall beauty.
It's kind of like kintsugi, you know, the
Yeah.
Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with gold.
I love that.
It's about taking something that was broken and making it even more beautiful by highlighting the cracks.
That is such a good observation.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that our scars, those broken parts of us, they're not something to be ashamed of.
Right.
They're proof of our strength, our resilience,
Yeah.
our ability to heal.
And maybe those golden cracks are what make us unique.
Absolutely.
But I imagine that process of acceptance, like, it's not always easy.
No, it's not.
What do you do when you feel yourself resisting it?
Yeah.
When you're, like, clinging to anger or resentment?
Those feelings are totally normal. It's important to let yourself feel them.
Okay.
But remember that holding on to anger and resentment, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You know, ultimately it just hurts you more than anyone else.
So forgiveness is really a gift you give to yourself.
Exactly. It's about letting go of those negative emotions.
Okay, that makes sense.
It doesn't mean you're condoning what happened.
Right.
It just means you're choosing to free yourself from that pain.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but forgiveness isn't like a one-time thing, right?
Absolutely not.
It's a process.
It is. There will be days when it feels easier and days when it feels impossible.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
So it's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly. And be patient with yourself.
Okay.
You know, allow yourself to move through it at your own pace.
Okay, so we've talked about acceptance and forgiveness and self-compassion,
Mm-hmm.
but what about hope? How do you find hope again when it feels like your heart's been shattered?
Hope isn't the absence of pain, you know?
Okay.
It's the belief that something better is possible even when you can't see it yet.
Okay.
It's that little flicker of light in the darkness,
Yeah.
reminding you that the sun will rise again.
So it's about choosing to believe that even though this experience has been awful,
Yeah,
it doesn't define you or your future.
exactly.
But what about the fear? The
Yeah.
fear that you'll never find love again or that you'll just get hurt again.
Fear is a natural response to pain,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't have to let it control us.
Okay.
We can acknowledge the fear without letting it dictate our actions.
Well, it's like recognizing that fear is a feeling, not a fact.
Yeah.
It's a thought that we can choose to challenge.
Right, and one way to challenge that fear is to remind yourself that you've survived heartbreak before,
Okay.
and you can do it again.
Yeah.
You're stronger than you think.
So it's about tapping into that resilience,
Yeah.
knowing that you've been through the storm and come out on the other side.
Right, and remember, every heartbreak teaches you something.
Okay.
It helps you figure out what you really want in a partner.
Mm-hmm.
It helps you set healthier boundaries,
Yeah.
make better choices.
Okay.
It helps you grow into a stronger, more compassionate person.
So heartbreak can actually help you create a more fulfilling future.
Absolutely, it's all about perspective.
Yeah.
Choosing to see the potential for growth, for change, for love that's even deeper and more real than anything you've experienced before.
I like that. It's like turning your pain into power.
Exactly. And remember, this experience might be what helps someone else get through their own heartbreak.
Okay.
So share your story, offer support, and let's create a world where we can all heal together.
Beautifully said. So, to wrap up this part of our deep dive, what's the one message you want our listener to take away from all of this?
I want them to know that they're not alone.
Hmm.
Heartbreak is something almost everyone goes through,
Yeah.
and it's something you will get through.
Okay.
It might not be easy, and it might take time,
Right.
but you have the strength to heal
Yeah.
and to create a future full of love and happiness.
That's a really powerful message.
Thank you.
And I think it's important to remember that even though heartbreak feels like an ending,
Yeah,
it's also an opportunity for a new beginning,
I agree.
a chance to rebuild your life in a way that's truer to yourself.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like that quote, sometimes good things fall apart so better things can fall together. Heartbreak can be that like catalyst, you know,
Right.
for a big change.
Absolutely. And you might be surprised by how resilient you are
Right.
and how clear your vision for the future becomes.
Okay.
You've been through a lot. You've come out stronger,
Mm-hmm.
wiser, more ready to find a love that truly fulfills you.
It's like heartbreak gives you this like superpower to see through the BS
Yeah,
and recognize what really matters.
exactly. You're not drawn to the same old patterns anymore,
Okay.
the same red flags.
You've learned from those mistakes.
You have, and you're carrying that knowledge with you.
You know, we often talk about heartbreak and romantic relationships,
Yeah.
but I think these lessons apply to like all kinds of relationships, friendships, family.
Right.
Anytime we experience a loss,
Mm-hmm.
there's that potential for growth.
Absolutely. Those principles like boundaries and self-awareness,
Right.
they're universal.
Okay.
Any experience that makes you confront your vulnerabilities,
Yeah.
it can lead to real personal growth.
It's like we're always evolving, shedding those old layers,
Right.
becoming more ourselves.
Exactly. And that makes you more magnetic.
Okay.
You attract a love that truly aligns with who you are.
So heartbreak, even though it feels awful,
Uh-huh.
it's really just the start of something new.
It is a new chapter where you can create a more fulfilling experience of love.
I like that.
And remember, that new chapter might not be a straight line.
Okay.
Healing has its own pace.
Right.
You'll have days when you feel amazing and days when you feel like you're back at the beginning.
Right. And that's okay.
It's all part of the process.
And maybe it's those like detours
Hmm.
that lead to the best places.
Maybe the biggest lesson we learned from heartbreak
Okay.
is that being vulnerable, even when it hurts,
Right.
is how we connect with others.
Okay.
It's through those cracks that love comes in,
Mm-hmm.
nourishes us,
Yeah.
changes us,
Yeah.
and reminds us that we deserve love.
It's like that Leonard Cohen line.
Oh, yeah.
There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in.
I love that.
And that light, that love, it makes us whole.
It does. So as you move forward,
Yeah.
remember to be kind to yourself,
Okay.
celebrate how strong you are,
Yeah.
and trust that love will find its way back to you.
Well said. I think that's a perfect place to end.
Yeah,
To our listeners, remember, you're stronger than you think,
absolutely.
more resilient than you know, and you are worthy of love.
Mm-hmm.
Let this experience shape you, not break you. And as you move forward,
Yeah.
keep your heart open.
To the possibility of something amazing.
Exactly. Beautifully said. Thank you for joining us
It is my pleasure.
for this deep dive into relationships and heartbreak.
It is a good one.
Until next time, take care and keep those hearts open.